Just going to do a small mic check. Just going to do a small mic check. Seems okay there. Right. Let's get this link shared. Yeah. So let's just recap what we did last week. We added these blocks. They're generating money. We fixed a few little things. We did a full review. Well, we got the AI to do a review of the code and fix some issues for us. And then I think this week we're going to look at creating some UI. So in preparation for that, I've got this markdown file, which just contains some examples and some do's and don'ts for the AI. Hopefully help us generate some pretty cool UI. So I think the first thing we'll do is just a simple cache value. So let's create some UI using the UI guide MD. Let's create a funky cache value player. Sorry, my voice is a bit funny. Cache value of the player in the middle top of the screen. Let's just see how that goes. We'll see what it generates and then we can kind of refine it from there. I'm interested to see how it handles this UI guide that I've put together. Hey, Dontu. I just read it on a bit of a delay. All right, so where have we got to? So it's read the UI guide. Going through, so it's looking hopefully for that cache value, which is in the player profile. If we go to the top here, we've got money. Okay, so let's give us an implementation plan here. Yep, so that is empty. So it's going to generate a UI call, UI API, which is all part of this guide. UI cache display, okay. Solid background. This is something I could add to the guide actually. Gradients could degrade performance. Watches. Okay. We'll go with this now. 3 to 5 ticks. Yeah. What we could do in the future, and we'll probably do it today if we can get this up and running, but actually we should have a set cache. No, we don't. I thought we set those up. Get profile. Oh, add money. So we do have this. I'm not quite, I don't like how these are named, to be honest. They should be, yeah. But anyway, we can hook into here to update the UI. The other thinking is, because this is a Tycoon game, the cache is going to be changing a lot. So actually, would there be any value to updating UI when the value gets updated, as opposed to updating every couple of ticks? Probably not. But for UI that only changes, when the player does something, which may be every minute or so, then you don't want to read that every tick. You can delay that. Set HUD cache. This all looks fine. Make sure we initialize the UI and no tests. Cool. So let's just hit proceed on that. It's going to generate a lot of files here. When this is done, oh, okay. Let's just done a little update here. Yeah, so it's just got rid of that gradient background. So here we go. So UI core, it should pull 1-for-1 from the guide. And essentially what this UI core file does is just set up the initial sort of framework for our UI. You can see we've got individual, it's already done. It's got individual bits here. So we've got like a HUD layer, we've got a floating layer, and world space layer, at different Z indexes. So you can see stuff in the world is on 15, so that means it'll be above, below. We need to check it, but I think this is the right way around. But just make sure things are ordered correctly. Just make sure we generate those layers, and we've got a function here to add styles. Escaping to make sure we're not passing any weird stuff into the actual HTML. So if we look at what is generated here, right, cache display. So we've got an ensure, adds a style. We give it a key just to make sure we're not, every time we start the game, we're not injecting a new style. Inserting that HTML, which is the HUD cache. Let's just see. Render, ASCII, cache value, set cache, new value. Okay. So that's pretty cool. Now, because we have generated some new files here, if I go here, we just have this little thing. Now, I think they have solved, oh no, see, we're getting these errors. So I'm just going to save the game here. Wait for that to finish. And then just leave and come straight back in. There. So they should all be nice and tidy now. Just check if we've got any errors. Not seeing any errors there. Let's just hit 18,000. Okay. Does that match what's in my profile? Yes, it does. So it looks like that guide worked pretty well, actually. We've got a easy cache display there, from one simple prompt. So I'm quite impressed actually with how well that's worked. Let's just check. It clears when we exit. If I go back to, I want to see if we can mute I don't know how to mute. We won't worry about that. So we go to elements, add cache. Hopefully we can't see that anymore. Looks like it was all gone. Perfect. Yeah, that looks like it's working great, actually. So if I just wipe and then come back in, got no cache. I'm going to just give myself some money. And then I think what I will do actually for now is just do that. Cool. Seems to be adding a lot of money per block. What is it? Oh, it is a diamond dropper. Let's just check the definition. Droppers are under shared. So diamond dropper is 100 per block. So that does make sense. So that's just a quick verification of some logic there. Now, there is a case to be made in terms of how we've got it set up here, which is the money is being added by a collision check here. Yeah, so what I'm thinking about actually is this could get quite noisy. And if we want to do something like calculating how much money we're earning per second, it can be a bit messy. Whereas if we actually did, so we know the diamond dropper drops 0.3 blocks per second. They sell at 100. So every second, we're selling 0.3 blocks. So we could just add that value somewhere. So it's not really calculating anything. If we go to pipeline resource system. So see on entity collision start, we've got the resource trait, which is the block that's been dropped, and cell box, which is that sort of black box. We're getting a trait off the resource and simply calling add money. Yeah, I'll make sure this is on. So we're calling add money, player ID, and the value of that block. Are we happy with how it looks? Is that Tycoon-y? I think we can worry about styling later. We can just get some functionality. So let's just say looks and works great, but let's extend underneath the cache display. Let's also show the gained every second, something like now. It should work out that at the moment, it's not really going to be able to calculate this. So what it will have to do is probably update the player profile. This is what I'm going to assume it's going to do. It's going to add a value to the player profile. Money per second or something. And it should calculate that every time we add a dropper. On the middle top. Yeah. Money per second. So it's not. So it wants to calculate this every game tick. Let's not do that. Let's instead add a new value to the player profile, which is calculated every time we buy a new dropper. Or dropper is modified. No, let's not worry about that because we've not even added that yet. So every time we add a new dropper, let's recalculate this value. Yeah, we definitely don't want to do this every game tick. And yeah, otherwise that looks fine. It should throw one of these implementations back at me. So it's decided storing the calculated income rate within the player profile is the best approach. Did you really decide that? Add it. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fine. Let's just get it working and we can refine it from there. We've added 15 lines here. It's more than I would have thought. Why is this erroring? All right, let's fix that. That's cool. So yeah, perfect. It's appended to this add dropper function. If the game was live and we needed to add this, obviously this would never get called for the droppers that we already had. So we'd have to worry about that. Luckily, we've not published the game, so we don't have to worry. Now, one of the ways we would tackle that, though, is with this migrate function that I was just staring at. So because we've added this now, if we had player data saved previously, obviously that would never load properly. So we'd need to do a check like this. Obviously this is saying if the stored version is the same as the current version, fine, just return the data. Otherwise, we'd need to manually then say, okay, something's different. In this case, we've got income rate now. So actually, we could write a small helper in here just to recalculate and populate that income rate for the first time. As we're not actually live and there's no players, we don't need to worry about that. All I need to do is just hit wipe here. Oh no, go into game, hit wipe, come back out. Add some money again. Got stone dropper. No, it's 36 per second. So we could look around in that up or something. But yeah, that looks about right to me. Then obviously Yeah. Okay, so that's looking good. It's functional. It's not looking good. We can make it look good at a later date. It's kept it in line, hasn't it? Then just double check that. So we've still got just on this cache display. And we've got individual styling for that. So interestingly, well, we've not got a gradient. It's just a opacity or alpha, really, which is opacity. And that works. Am I happy with what's going on here? If I just, where's this actually being called? So render. Hang on. So ensure creating that. Why am I confused here? No. Something happening here. Pref home. I'm sure what that's doing. So that goes here. That goes there. How is it actually updating? This is very interesting. Why is this confusing me so much? How is it re-rendering? Is this on a loop? No. I'm seeing any game tick or render. I'm very confused. I mean, it's working, but I just don't understand how it's working. And that could definitely be just me. This firework's going off. I'm very confused. Maybe it's been called in here. No, it shouldn't be. There shouldn't be any UI stuff in here. Nope. Interesting. I don't know. Am I being really blind here? Let's just ask it. How does UI cache display render when there's new value? See, it's really important that you don't just let AI generate code that you don't understand, because wait, it added this file. I did see that. But I didn't really have a look. So this is how it's working. Okay. So it's importing these helper functions. That's doing this. Okay. Cool. It's quite a nifty way of doing it. Means that we can handle all of our UI updates here. Interesting that it's called it profile client. I guess, yeah, okay, it makes sense. Most of the stuff is going to come from the player's profile anyway. So that seems fine, actually. Okay. Well, again, I think we've checked sort of everything is working. We've been able to buy everything. We've got the blocks dropping, the money's going up. Our UI has been rendered correctly, even though it was a bit of a mystery to begin with. I didn't expect it to actually be this easy. I expected to fight with it a little bit more. So what other UI could we work on? Right now, we don't really need a lot. Could have like a stats panel. Tell us what, what floor, what droppers are on each floor. Let's go crazy. So, let's see how good this guide is. Let's create a HUD button. When pressed, displays stats about the player. For example, you can see a droppers tab, which will show the floors and droppers on each floor, plus some values like block value, tier, display stats about the player in a panel. Droppers tab, then what would we call it? That's just jinx things. Maybe. I'm trying to think how we can push this now and really see what it can do. So then let's just say stats panel with various info like money, total money, and I think we've got that in the player profile, haven't we? Total money, prestige. I can't even spell. Prestige level. Okay. Again, I'm keeping these prompts really vague at the moment. I tended to go more detail orientated. I don't know why I'm struggling with speech today, but orientated. That word that I cannot pronounce. Let's see. I'm not going to read this because I think it's going to do fine. We're going to blind it. We're just going to let it go. Just, yeah, Gemini Pro Wilding. Let's just unleash it because I think this guide's working out pretty well. Hopefully 80 grey's not correct in that I've jinxed everything and it's going to go wildly wrong. This should be quite tricky. That's the other thing I was going to look at, but we'll look at this in a second. There is assets, photo, no, assets, art, prop. Hey, where am I? I should be an API. Oh, it's because this is interesting. Let's actually look while it's doing that. Documentation. There should be. Get area, description. No way has it already done it. Define trait. Assets. Something asset. Oh, what is it? Photo, get player, get character. Get prop? No. Oh, wait, here we go. Get prop. Get prop asset. There's something that returns a picture of the prop. We will work it out. I can't believe that this is done already. Yeah, we have got an error. UI stats panel is missing. It's not missing, it's there. So it's acceptable. Purple stats panel. Does that exist? Does exist? Let's just say fix error in UI, but stats. I will need to do, once that's finished actually, let's just save and reload this again. UI stats panel, UI stats panel. That's interesting. Right, I'm going to be... Okay, no, it's just the name. And let's click. Still doesn't like it. What I'm going to do... Oh no, it's still working on it. There we go. Let's just to finish up. And then we'll just need to do that quick save and reload. Actually, just do its own test. That's just so cool. Right, accept all of those. Come here. So if this works, this is just going to be insane. Let's check. Got you in client. Okay. Moment of truth. Let's play. Well, I don't see a button. Do we have any errors? So just check in, zoom out. Yeah, I'm not seeing a button. So, and I don't see a button to press to show the stats. Button to press on the HUD to show the stats panel. That's it. So that's the stats panel. This is the button. Where was it putting it? Before end. And it's adding it to the HUD layer, which should be the same as the cache display. Should be the same as cache display. HUD layer, yep. Oh, where's it gone? I've definitely jinxed it. This is interesting. Oh, just waiting for that. I don't know why it's deleted the entire file. Got into console logs. Is it finished? How's finished? No, it's back. Oh no, it's just the file's completely empty. Interesting. But yeah, it's not going to work because that's erroring. Let me just uncomment this because it will then think, the reason it's not showing HUD stats on the UI now appears to be empty. That's an unusual. I've not seen that happen before. And it's failing for some reason. Let me just close that. Close all of this. Double check. Yeah, still empty. It just seems to have gone to a still empty. I hyped it up too much. There we go. Now it's back. Ah, let's create a new file. Okay, let's just accept that. Let's have 12. Not that any scripts open here. Save the world. We've got no errors, have I? Wonder if I didn't let it save properly last time. Oh, that's interesting. I need to gate that. I still don't see any button. Don't have any errors. Let's just see what's happening here. Go to definition. Fix. Where is it putting it? 20 absolute. Don't find if it's even being created. It's not. So it doesn't look like that's being called, maybe. So it was being called. Set had stats button. So where are we failing? I wonder. So I don't think. We've got the style for that. Is that the only style that's getting added? Yes. That's the Jamango UI. Custom UI should all be in there. Yeah. So we know this has been called, but for some reason it's not being added. Added to console logs. Both output, however, don't see the style or button being added to the page. I don't think they should be locking it anyway. Yeah, but it's more specific locks. Check we get no errors here. But it's not help us, I don't think. Let's just actually turn off the cache display. Second, see if it loads then. Oh. I'm doing something really silly. So red, green, and blue. Let's see red and blue. And look at only pixels, auto event, pointer. Yeah, but the problem is this isn't even been added. There's an updated UI core to do that. And the UI cache display is seems add stats uses the same layer, so we can assume that everything is fine there. I definitely jinxed this, didn't I? Oh, okay. Well, it came up. Interesting. That's really cool there. I mean, it generally is the UI that I wanted, just not the button for some reason. That's super cool. Can't believe how easy that was. Just really struggling with this button. And stats panel opens and displays perfectly. The button still not shown. That's actually insane. Where's... Oh, so it was actually clicking the button to open the stats. Interesting. There's something weird going on this way. I've forced a blue container to be a blue box. If I just have a look again. I need to stop that running. So if I go to client.ts, j.onPlayer join. Yeah. Just sort of stops doing that. Interesting. Okay. Let's see if it's button now. Remove the blue, red, green borders and style everything properly. Equally as confused why things work and don't work at the moment. Okay. It's erroring now. What's wrong here? It's missing something simple, isn't it? Save. Oh no. Review UI, cool. Doesn't look correct. I'm just interested to see if it spots the error. There we go. Then we got a cool little stats button with our stats. Let's just move that button up. Bottom, let's just change that to top. Put it down a bit more, actually. Sometimes it's too helpful like that. Yeah, that looks about good. How cool is that, though? Again, we can worry about the actual styling later on. But if we remember, if we can go back here, this was the prompt. Create a HUD button that, when pressed, displays stats about the player in the panel. have a droppers tab, which shows the floors and droppers on each floor, plus some values like block value, tier. Super vague. And I need to be careful there. That's what it's give us. Yeah, I'm quite impressed. Quite impressed. And it seems to be following the guide quite well. We're not getting, that's going to annoy me. We'll switch that back across at some point. It's not doing any weird stuff, so it is following the guide quite nicely. Everything's being initiated properly. We're not getting multiple styles and things get added. So we've only got one there. If you look at Panic in the Kitchen, doesn't matter if you join the game once, but when I'm editing the game, it's a bug that I have is I'll end up with like 50 styles because it keeps adding the style every time I hit play. So I'm glad I've got that fixed for this. That's super cool. Obviously, I do need to rebalance these stone droppers. And we've got some stats now. Super easy. If I go to, I haven't actually looked at this panel. Player stats. Stats panel. Player stats. Tabs. We've got stats. Player, dropper. That just looks a bit better than stats, I think. Floor 1, and then if we added more floors, that'd be cool. Okay. Again, what we'll do at some point is do a styling pass. So we can sort of define a color scheme and fonts and stuff, and then just go back and style this UI. For now, it's just a case of getting it functional. Which it is. So I think in terms of UI, we don't really need much else at the moment. What else do we need to do? Something like, yeah, okay, there's two things I need to add to the guide, wasn't there? Avoid gradient backgrounds. And then client.ts. Inside client.ts. Cool UI init through j.on player join. Okay, so we've updated the guide. Right, what do we need to work on next? We need to work on adding a additional floor when we unlock the 6 dropper. We need to work out how we're going to get up. We could just, come out of player mode here. We could just add some stairs at the end. Now we'd have to alternate them, wouldn't we? We could do like a lift. So floor 1 could go all the way along, and there could just be a gap here, some sort of pad, and when you step on, just centers up. Can add some in-world UI. But I'm thinking actually, yeah, let's just, next episode, we'll get additional floors going. We'll get rebirth going and milestones. So like reach floor 10 for the first prestige, and then floor 20, etc., etc. Then we're pretty much, once we've got the sort of prestige system in place, we've got multiple floors in place, we're pretty much there. We can bash out, we can make this look a lot better. Can make it into sort of an actual skyscraper as I've been imagining it. And we can set out the game world a little bit better, add some roads and things. And we might be ready for, an alpha release. Obviously, we've got to come back and work on the styling of this UI. But otherwise, we're pretty much there. I think we will get away from this collision-based thing. Because actually, if we want to start adding modifiers, like the rebirth's gonna, the prestige is gonna make us earn 20% more money, or whatever it's gonna do. Again, rather than calculating that value every single time a book is colliding, we could just have a set, rate of income, like we've already got in the player profile. So we've got this income rate. So when we start adding, multipliers and that kind of stuff, again, we don't want to be calculating and recalculating, every tick, every collision. So we just want to calculate that when it changes, when we buy a dropper or upgrade a dropper. And then just save that, and just every second add that income. So we will do that as well. Calculate money per sec. Calculated money per sec, yeah. Go to product overview. User screen, money, floors and locks. Okay, yeah. We come back to that from episode 7. So what did we say? Add multiple floors. Okay, yeah, it's reading my mind here. Add a way to. Do we want to just automatically unlock when we unlock the 6, or should it be add a way to buy floors? Yeah, why not? We've already got a way to buy droppers. What else do we need to do? Tidy up world. Yeah, just make it look more like a Tycoon game. Exactly. Right. Get ready for an alpha release. Cool. All right. That's me for this week, guys. I shall catch you next week.